MotoGP's third and most important visit to Italian shores in 2024 comes from the Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli. Will the World Championship lead change hands once again as a gripping title fight between Jorge Martin and Pecco Bagnaia comes to Emilia-Romagna. Holiday season on Italy's Adriatic coast is cooling off, but the battle for glory is just hotting up. It's time to race in MotoGP. So the Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli, the 31st time this great venue has hosted a Grand Prix. The first one back in 1980, won by American legend King Kenny Roberts. Of course, we were here just 2 weeks ago for the San Marino Grand Prix. This time around, it's the Grand Prix of Emilia-Romagna. 4.2 kilometres in length, 2.6 miles, 16 corners, 10 right, 6 left. The lap starts with the right-handed turn one. Good overtaking opportunity there as you sweep through into that first sector, including the hard braking for turn 4. The Quercia corner, turn 8, offers a good overtaking hot spot as well. Cavone, turn 11, one of the most spectacular corners on the whole calendar. 5th gear through there, pretty much flat out on a MotoGP bike. Turns 1, 8, 9 and 10 are the toughest for the front tyres and the front end of these MotoGP bikes. And you've got to watch to manage the tyres through turns 11, 12 and 7. Overtaking hot spots, well, there are plenty of them. Turns 1, 2, 4, 5, 8 and 10. This was Jack Miller in the San Marino Grand Prix 2 weeks ago on the inside of Alex Marquez at Quercia corner. Coming up next then in MotoGP, Enea Bastianini hunts a 5th successive podium in Misano to keep himself in title contention. 7th on the grid, but ready to go on the offensive. Can Marc Marquez win 3 in a row for the first time since 2019? A 100th Ducati win and his 100th Ducati appearance is the dream for Pecco Bagnaia. The world champion chases a milestone Misano success from pole. But can Jorge Martin gate crash the home party to be Ducati's 100-win hero from second? So less than 24 hours ago, under the sunshine here on Italy's Adriatic coast, it was Pecco Bagnaia who started the 13-lap Tissot sprint from pole position. He was quickly passed though by the fast-starting Jorge Martin and Brad Binder. Binder got a lightning launch from 4th to move quickly into 2nd place. Marc Marquez an early mover as well as he started from the front of the 3rd row of the grid. Binder started to fade quickly though. He eventually took the checker flag down in 6th place. Martin, though, having just got a track limits warning, making a crucial mistake going through turn 13. That allowed Pecco Bagnaia to sweep back on through. That allowed Bagnaia to take the checkered flag for his 4th sprint win of 2024. And it means the reigning world champion comes back to home turf at the Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli, knowing that today, if he wins the Grand Prix of Emilia-Romagna, he will be back at the top of the MotoGP World Championship. Plenty of motivation, plenty of incentive for Bagnaia to prevail here this afternoon. We're, about 40 minutes away from lights out for our 27-lap Grand Prix of Emilia-Romagna. And it could be a historic day for Bagnaia and for Ducati. We're about a 90-minute drive from Ducati's HQ in Borgo Panigale, just on the outskirts of Bologna, where today Ducati's dominance can be confirmed as they should wrap up yet another Constructor World Championship. But the personal glory, well, that's what Bagnaia wants in front of his home crowd. His 100th MotoGP start, all of them, of course, made on top of a factory Ducati. And today, Ducati on course to win for the 100th time in MotoGP. Just feels like the planets have aligned. It's written the stars for Bagnaia in his 100th Grand Prix start to take Ducati's 100th win, given the fact that he's already won a quarter of them 25 wins so far for Pecco Bagnaia. Losing a little bit of ground in the World Championship yesterday was Marc Marquez. 7th he started on the grid. It was always going to be a big ask for Marquez to claw himself back into podium contention. Finished in 4th at the checkered flag, but he's over 50 points back in the title chase. Today, though, if Marc Marquez does become Ducati's 100th Grand Prix winner, well, it'll be for the first time in 5 years, since 2019, that a 31-year-old Spaniard has won 3 on the spin. It's Matt Burton, Lewis Sotheby in the commentary box, as always, talking you through this afternoon's Premier Class action with Simon Crafar down in pit lane. Lewis, there's plenty on the line, plenty at stake this afternoon, not just the records, the milestones of that Ducati 100th win, Bagnaia's 100th Grand Prix success. Of course, he wants that, but he also wants the lead in the MotoGP World Championship back. It's in his hands, pole position, the sprint win. Without any question, he is the big pre-race favourite.
Yeah, and we thought that a fortnight ago when Pecco Bagnaia took pole position and he was mugged in the sprint by Jorge Martin, and then the rain essentially rained on Pecco Bagnaia's likely parade on the Sunday, opening the door for Marc Marquez to take victory once Martin had made that famous flag-to-flag error. We're not going to get any rain to interfere with this afternoon's Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. It should be a straight shootout in dry conditions between Pecco Bagnaia and Marc Marquez. Between Jorge Martin, should I say. Martin making that key mistake yesterday when he received that track limits warning. He can't afford to make a similar mistake today, because if he does, he could lose the World Championship lead with it. So
it could be a very special celebration Sunday here for Ducati. They could be crowned Constructor Champions. They're looking for what surely should be their 100th Grand Prix success. Who will deliver it, though? Will it be Bagnaia, Martin or Bastianini from that front row of the grid? Don't discount Marc Marquez. Let's get the thoughts on what could be a very special day. From factory Ducati boss Davide Tardozzi, you join Simon. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Yeah, good afternoon. Actually, David, I can't hear you because it's so nice and quiet in pit lane. He doesn't even need to have a headset on. David, I wanted to come and have a chat with you in this little window because you know how unpredictable MotoGP is. But lately, the dominance of your brand, Ducati Corsa it's unbelievable. Like, it has the whole pit lane wondering how you do it. And the manufacturer's title almost in your grasp, rider's title, it's between riders on your machine. Unbelievable. I really wanted to know, like everyone wants to know, we know you can't tell us the secrets, but what do you believe is behind the success?
I think that this is really Ducati here because in Borgo Panigale, Gigi and his crew works really in a perfect way, and I think that on the sports side we make the right choice on riders, and we help the teams in the proper way. So I guess that it is not a kind of secret. It's just work, think about the right steps, and look into the future.
This number of machines you'll have on the grid next year, 8 to 6, how will that affect you? Just curious.
I am pretty sure that it will not affect to the performance, while I think that more than the number of the bikes, the quality of the rider, the talent of the riders helps a lot to be in front. So I guess that it will be not an issue stepping down from 8 to 6.
David, I listened to a podcast you did with Neil Hodgson, Ducati Diaries, if anyone's interested. It was a really good listen. You speaking about different riders that you've worked with, and you've worked with a lot for a long time. You were a rider yourself, and then you were a team manager when I was a rider. You're still a team manager. And so that's a lot of riders to work with. And you mentioned, made me smile, how technical Pecco Bagnaia is.
Yeah, I think that one of the most important thing of Pecco is not only the speed on the racetrack, but how he explains the problems to the engineers, how he's able to transmit to them his feeling. and how the engineers bring his words in reality, stepping ahead.
That really makes sense, because for years we've seen how Pecco and his crew bounce back from Saturdays to Sundays, or even Fridays to Saturdays. Something else in my mind is a lot of people wonder and argue about the GP24 and GP23. They're obviously both really good machines, because everyone else is trying to be the next best behind those two machines. But from your opinion or your knowledge, the difference out there between those two machines, GP24 and GP23?
I think that there is a small difference and in performance, and that's true, but I really think that Marc Marquez shows that 2023 is something really competitive, because how he won the race in Aragon, I think that belongs to a top rider and a top bike. So I think that 24 is a small step ahead.
In what areas? It looks like it has more power.
Yeah, no power. I think a bit more of traction.
Okay, that brings me to, when you said a bit more traction, just a little bit more on the technical side before I go back to Ryder, is a lot of the other manufacturers are saying they want to be able to stop their machine like you do. You stop it in such, your machine stops in such a short period that it makes then the corner a little bit easier to handle, and of course doesn't damage the exit, you know. And then you'd speak about traction. That is noticeable as well, because so many other riders and different manufacturers have complained about trying to get grip, especially at a lean angle, and you seem to be able to do that. Like, how is that possible?
Because of knowledge of our engineers, Gigi's crew is really focused to solve one problem each time. We are not putting too many problems on the table. We are chasing the line step by step and one by one, and I think that it works since 2016-17, when I think that the bike became really competitive. At that time we had only a big problem that was called Marc Marquez. That was really somebody that was riding in a way that nobody can follow him. But anyway, I think that now we decide that the rider is important as the bike. So that's why we start to think about the future in 2020, and looking forward to have young riders with a different riding style that can give us improvement in ideas, in suggestion, and in different style, because chasing different styles means that you bring the bike one step ahead.
Excellent. Okay, we've been told we've only got a moment left, but Davide, that you brought it perfectly to my last question is Marc Marquez. You've said about Pecco's speed and technical explanations. What do you think Marc brings to your garage? I mean, I can see he has race craft like nobody else, you know, experience now like nobody else, hunger. What else?
I think that Marc will bring the level of the team really high, because having competition inside the team, a nice competition, that means that the riders must collaborate inside the team and during the practice, while we know that when they are on the tarmac, it's up to them to show who's the best one or who can win, and we will not stop nobody on his performance like we are not doing now. But anyway, I think that Marc will keep the level of the team very high, and will help also Pecco to keep his competitivity very high.
Davide, I really appreciate your time given to us. Good luck this afternoon.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Simon. Thanks very much to Ducati Lenovo team boss Davide Tardozzi. As he mentioned, we are firmly in the Ducati era, aren't we? In the MotoGP World Championship. Looks like they are going to quite comfortably win yet another triple crown. Special day, I'm sure. They've got the special celebration, the special T-shirts already prepped for the 100th Grand Prix victory. Frankie Morbidelli from the podium in the sprint in San Marino 2 weeks ago. There was another point scoring finish in the offing yesterday for Frankie, but it was a 9th place, so disappointed to sort of not make the progression forward, not make the step forward that those around him certainly did. In fact, he was the only rider that scored a point in yesterday's sprint that was not able to go quicker over the 13 laps. This rider certainly did. Pecco Bagnaia getting himself full set. He was 7.7 seconds faster in yesterday's sprint, which of course he did win, compared to the sprint here 2 weeks ago. That equates to a leap of half a second. Some improvement, isn't it, in 2 weeks? Yeah, slightly maybe more favourable weather conditions, but the Bagnaia fans, well, they're here expecting, they're almost demanding that he does complete the dream double.
You saw that addition to Pecco Bagnaia's cap as well, the usual #1 with a couple of zeros added to it, because he does celebrate a century of MotoGP starts today. We did publish a video on MotoGP.com and the social media channels earlier on in the week when Pecco Bagnaia was asked to rank his top 10 Ducati victories, and he put a couple of head-to-head duels with his future teammate Marc Marquez at the very top. The Jerez victory of this year in the #2 spot, and you might not be at all surprised to hear that his #1 victory for Ducati is still that famous first victory of Aragon. Amazing to think that was just only 3 years ago. What a journey he's been on since then.
26th Grand Prix victory in the Premier Class beckons for Bagnaia today. Will Enea Bastianini have a big part to play in it? Well, surely he will do, if he can just be that little bit stronger, a little bit more aggressive in the first 2 or 3 laps on fresh rubber and with a full fuel tank. It's where Bastianini still remains sort of, I'm not saying weaker, but certainly not as strong as what Martin and Bagnaia are, but he does launch himself away from the front row of the grid. The Beast started P3, finished P3 in the sprint yesterday, trying to wrestle back P3 in the World Championship from Marc Marquez. That'll be one of his key objectives here this afternoon. And what about Pedro Acosta? Well, his weekend has pretty much been about 5th place on the grid, 5th place in the sprint, 5th fastest time in the sprint. It just seems at the moment, Lewis, he's kind of, shall we say, without being too disrespectful, the best of the rest behind the clear top 4 Ducatis.
Yeah, he's now hitting a bit of a wall, isn't he? There's not a lot further progress that he can make given the machinery that he's on. But it is a measure, and we've said this before about Pedro Acosta, it is a measure of the mentality, the champion's elite mentality that Pedro Acosta has in his first MotoGP season, albeit, of course, this is his 2nd Grand Prix appearance in MotoGP here at this circuit. He was asked if he was happy with what he achieved yesterday, finishing in 5th place. He says, I can't be happy when I'm 6 seconds off the winner.
No, he will not take that one lying down. His mission again will be probably to try and run a little bit close to the Ducatis, but I know a couple of people inside the Tech 3 garage yesterday, and they were speaking to him post-race. He just said, I had a good ride, a strong ride, but just no chance. Impossible at the moment to run closely to those factory Ducatis, in particular the 3 GP24s. 3 of the 4 GP24s find themselves on the front row. They locked out the sprint podium yesterday. And of course, you are going to get very long odds on Ducati not wrapping up their 100th success here today. They've only been beaten once on a Sunday so far this season, and that feels like an awful long time ago, doesn't it now? Maverick Vinales' double victory for the factory Aprilia team at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Since then, MotoGP in 2024 has been dominated by Ducati.
And that's why they could clinch the Constructors' Championship today, almost certainly will clinch the Constructors' Championship today. Essentially, if a Ducati rider finishes in the top 4 today, they will be crowned the Constructors' Champions, and you suspect they might manage that.
Well, it's always great to have MotoGP legends join us, and we have one of the very best to ever do it. 1993 500cc world champion Kevin Schwantz. I'm so thrilled, so delighted to see him here in Misano. I'm delighted as well because he's about to talk to Simon down in pit lane.
He is. It's about to get noisy as well. Kev, what brings you to Misano? Have you been keeping an eye on the championship lately? And yeah, what's news?
Yeah, you know, I scheduled a holiday, and then you guys changed the race and made a second round here. So if I'm in Italy and the race is going on, I'll be here. Yeah, the championship's really entertaining these days. Big fight right at the front. A couple of guys not far back, Bastianini and Marquez, could make it interesting if the guys at the very front get too aggressive.
Hey, you were always famous for your unbelievable braking, you know, especially that last lap, you know, using that front tyre, pulling on that brake lever harder than anyone. The machines, how they've changed lately, how they work, you know, with the ride height device, with crazy big discs. What do you think? What have you seen?
You know, it seems like there's still quite a bit of passing going on. There was a while, a couple of years ago in MotoGP, it had kind of gotten stale and people weren't able to make moves as much, but it seems like, you know, braking's now a spot. Direction change seems to be a big place. It's just with all the aerodynamics, you got to be so conscious of what's going on. Tire temp, engine temp, you get in the draft of something and everything, the downforce completely changes. So there's a lot that just being here this weekend they've kind of enlightened me on. So really, really technical and a lot going on.
Last thing before we wander onto the grid is, would you have rather ridden the 500 two-smokers like you did, or would you rather have raced these ones?
No, the 500 two-strokes, but I think the big question is I sure would have never wanted to be race direction. Good luck, bud.
See you. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Who'd want to do a thing like that?
Yeah, thanks very much to Kevin Schwantz, absolute legend. Always love hearing the thoughts of Revin Kevin, the Sultan of Slide, as he was known back in the day. I have to say a massive thanks to the Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli, and a huge thanks as well to fans who've taken the opportunity to come back to this part of Italy, Italy's Adriatic coast, for the second Grand Prix here in just 2 weeks. We had a record-breaking, all-time highest San Marino Grand Prix crowd here 2 weeks ago, highest ever at Misano, and there's a lot of people who've come back or have taken the opportunity to come for the first time to sample the special atmosphere of MotoGP. 45,000 fans are here today, so congratulations, well done MotoGP fans. We love and appreciate your support as always.
Yeah, we noticed when we arrived at the circuit around about 7:30 this morning, we could already see some filling the grass banks overlooking the Cavone section and overlooking Quercitu. That is true hardcore dedicated support.
Just keep the motorway free back to Bologna tonight, please. I'm trying to get a flight out tonight because we're all off to Indonesia very, very quickly. Yes, let's just keep those toll booths as free as possibly we can do. So then now, as the atmosphere and the tension builds down on the grid, of course, thankfully for Prima Pramac's sake, it looks like we're going to get a full dry MotoGP race here. There'll be no flag-to-flag bike swap dramas, which came the way of Jorge Martin a couple of weeks ago. He is still the World Championship leader, 4 points clear of Bagnaia going into this 27-lap race. Let's get the thoughts of the boss, Gino Borsoi. Here's with Simon.
Yes, he is. Cheeky Matt Burt just saying there's no raindrops in sight, Gino, but really curious, seriously, what are your concerns today?
Well, honestly speaking, I'm happy because we know that with the medium rear, maybe we are a bit faster than Pecco, maybe, or at least we are a better feeling. We don't know if we are better than Pecco or no, but for sure the feeling with medium rear is good. Jorge is happy to ride with the medium rear, so let's see. If you are able to make a good start yesterday, we can have a interesting race.
Also, your other rider, Frankie, he's been fast at Misano the whole time. Are you hoping he can do something good today on that GP24?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure also Frankie can make a good race because during the test he made a good step with the medium rear, and also this morning in warm-up the feeling was good, so I'm pretty sure he can be fast.
Thank you, Gino.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Simon. Thanks very much to Gino Borsoi. Of course, this weekend we finally found out our complete 22-rider lineup for next year's MotoGP World Championship, underway March the 2nd, of course, in Thailand. It was confirmed. We've known for some time that Pramac Racing were moving over to Yamaha. We've known for some time that their riders were going to be Miguel Oliveira and Jack Miller. Well, finally, this weekend, we did get the confirmation that Fuller Miller has been thrown a career lifeline, moved over from Red Bull KTM Factory Racing to the new Pramac Yamaha squad.
Here's the grid then. Bagnaia, Martin, Bastianini is your front row. Brad Binder lines up fourth, and remember, he was up in second at the first corner yesterday. Pedro Costa and Marco Bezzecchi joining him on row 2. Bezzecchi has upped it at the moment. He was here for the soft rear tyre. Marc Marquez, Maverick Vinales and Fabio Quartararo, a heavyweight third row, with Frankie Morbidelli, Aleix Espargaro and Miguel Oliveira right behind. Fabio Di Giannantonio lines up 13th from Raul Fernandez and Luca Marini, up in a season's high 15th on the grid. Joan Mir 16th from Johann Zarco and Augusto Fernandez, and 21 start with Jack Miller, Taki Nakagami and Alex Marquez on the back row after Alex Marquez crashed in qualifying 1. So from the initial grid lineup we've seen, Marco Bezzecchi, the sole rider who's going to throw the dice and go for the soft rear tyre.
Yeah, worth a punt, isn't it, for Marco? Not a championship contender, and he said in the pre-event press conference here on Thursday, he's got one sort of box left to tick, one primary goal as he winds down to the end of his time with the VR46 racing team and end of his time with Ducati. He said, yeah, as a leaving present, I would just like to give them one more podium. Well, he's got another opportunity coming up here today. How much of a risk is the soft tyre option going for Marco Bezzecchi? Well, let's find out, because Simon Crafar is with the man in the know, Michelin Motorsport boss, Piero Taramasso.
Piero, I'm interested to hear what you're going to say. It looks temperature-wise that we're in the range of that awesome medium that everyone loves, front tyre, and sounds like majority would go with medium, but what are your thoughts? Can they push hard on that medium front and rear the whole way?
Yes, front is medium for everybody, same as yesterday, same as the first race here in Misano. Rear, the temperature range is okay for the rear soft and for the rear medium, so both are raceable. But the majority, the very large majority, they will go with the medium on the rear. Is the one, it takes 1 or 2 laps to get the temperature on, but then the grip is very good, consistency is very good, stability is very good. So for the information I have so far, only one rider will go with the rear soft, all the rest with the rear medium.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks very much, Simon. Thanks to Piero Taramasso from Michelin Motorsport. So Marco Bezzecchi feels like he can then make the soft rear tyre work over 27 laps. Can Aprilia find their way back to the sharp end in MotoGP? Aragon and Misano 1 were certainly quite difficult for the Newali factory. There's some home comforts coming later on this afternoon for the likes of Maverick Vinales and Aleix Espargaro. Let's find out from the boss, Paolo Bonora, who's for Simon.
He is. Paolo, can you give the listeners a bit of an idea? Are you making some progress on the things you've been working on, the stopping rear grip? Riders, are they more comfy on the medium rear tyre, like I've heard from a couple?
Yes, fully right. Yesterday we struggled a bit in the hard braking with the soft rear because push on the front. And as you have seen yesterday, Maverick had a very great race pace in the second part of the race. So we hope that with the medium tire on the rear, reducing a little bit the grip could affect in a better way the front tire.
Best of luck.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks Paolo Bonora, thanks Simon. Yeah, Maverick Vinales just outside those point scoring places in 10th place in the sprint. Aleix Espargaro was 12th. As we mentioned, this is a bit of a rough patch that Aprilia are going through. The San Marino Grand Prix here 2 weeks ago was the first time the factory Aprilia team hasn't scored a single point across the weekend since Valencia in 2022, which just shows how difficult Misano 1 still was. Just happy to be in Misano 2 is Repsol Honda's Luca Marini, of course. He was laid low by a nasty illness which ruled him out of his home Grand Prix. In fact, there was no representation, was there, from Repsol Honda last time out, with Joan Mir also sidelined for the whole weekend after a nasty bout of gastroenteritis. Now, those two characters on your screens just there, they have got some stories. They have got some tales of their times down the years in the paddock. It was, of course, 1993 Farmer CT World Champion Kevin Schwantz, the MotoGP legend, and none other than Carlo Pernat, a former factory Aprilia boss himself, helped launch the career of Valentino Rossi, still very much heavily involved in the paddock as manager of Enea Bastianini. But yeah, those two chewing the fat. There'll have been a few stories. Maybe not all of them can be published before the 9 p.m. watershed.
Maybe not. Imagine being a fly on the wall when those two are having a chat. Well, It's a beautiful holiday destination, this. It didn't necessarily feel and look like it when we arrived here on Wednesday, when we had extreme weather warnings and heavy rain buffeting us. Of course, rain certainly played a part in Marc Marquez's victory a fortnight ago when he took full advantage of those mixed conditions. What can he do in the full dry conditions of today, and what can Alex Marquez do from the back of the grid? Michele Messini's with Simon.
He is. Michele, yesterday it looked, at least from the outside, that Marc did everything that was possible. Medium rear tyres today, a lot of riders feeling more comfortable on that. Not everyone, but majority. What about Marc? Is it giving him more possibility, you think, today, or not?
I think that also for today the target will be the same of yesterday, so to achieve the 4th position. Then it will achieve something more, will be nice for sure, but at the moment the 3 in front are a little bit more than us, so we hope to make I think the same race of yesterday, so a good start and reach the 4th position.
Alex Marquez had a tough weekend. He's been unwell, a few falls in turn 1 through practice and qualifying. What about today? Has he recovered a bit health-wise and more hope this afternoon?
Yeah, he feel again a bit of feeling that he lost during the practice despite the 3 crashes. But I think that today the best goal will be the top 10. We made a good pace yesterday with the medium rear, the only one with the medium. So hoping for also for him a good start.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much then to Gresini Racing's Michele Messini down there on the grid with Simon. It would be some fairy tale, wouldn't it, if Marc Marquez was to come back here 2 weeks after that brilliant victory in the flag-to-flag San Marino Grand Prix, if he was to back it up with yet another victory. Misano now the 4th track. Marc Marquez has won 5 or more MotoGP wins. It's his favourite clockwise venue, but he has not won 3 on the spin since Buriram, Motegi and Phillip Island back in 2019. The Constructor Championship, well, it's in the hands of Ducati. It's only going one way. If it's not here, it'll be in Lombok for sure. Ducati going for their 5th consecutive Constructor Championship here today in Misano. And no better place to do it, of course, in their home round. Let's quickly zip back down and onto the grid as another proper MotoGP legend, this time a 15-time world champion, Giacomo Agostini there talking to Carlo Pernot. Let's go down to Simon.
Sorry, Nico, want to speak about your rider, Pedro Acosta. Unbelievable drive, you know, yesterday not happy with the position, you know, 6 seconds behind the winner. Has he got something more today?
Yeah, 6 seconds behind the winner, but the winner even been 6 seconds faster. So he did a similar job to the winner. Yeah, clearly we're gonna try. We cannot accept to be so far behind. Yesterday was he said the top 3 was impossible to fight with. Maybe he could have fight with Marc. So this is a target to improve, but I'm not so confident to be that close to the top 3 people.
Thank you for your time. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to Nico Goyon then from Red Bull Gas Tech 3, Marco Bezzecchi in the zone. He has taken that little bit of a punt then. He's the only rider in the 21 rider field that's gone for the soft rear tyre. Let's find out his thought process behind that and what can he do upon the back of that second roller. We can hear from Pertamina Enduro Viopolis Racing boss Pablo Nieto.
Yes, Marco Bezzecchi at a home race. He looked to have more confidence in general all the period here at Misano, and we've just heard that he's going, or he's going for the soft rear. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult with the soft rear, but anyway, during all this weekend we tried the medium and he didn't have that feeling like the top riders. So we decided to try the soft tire, try to be fast in the first part of the race, and then we will see. We know that in the end of the race it's going to be very difficult.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Simon. Thanks to Pablo Nieto. Then we're going to pause very, very shortly as we can see the special pre-race grid ceremony will be underway in about a minute and a half time as Pecco Bagnaia, just look at that face of focus, face of concentration. He is absolutely desperate to win his home Grand Prix here today. Of course, yeah, the sprint was great in terms of the championship, but today is when the big points are on the table, and today is when he wants to return to the top step at the Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli, after back-to-back thirds last year, back-to-back seconds here 2 weeks ago. You can hear the fans are building up the atmosphere. They're getting whipped up into a frenzy here ahead of this 14th round of the season. The helicopter shot overlooks this part of Italy's Adriatic coast, just giving an indication of just how close we are to the coastline here from the Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli, I bet a good Olympic javelin thrower could probably throw a javelin from the paddock to the beach. As we get set then for 27 laps here. 27 laps that could see Ducati crown constructor champions as they go for their 100th win. We'll take a break though now for the national anthem.
The Italian national anthem filling the airwaves here in the Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli. And what a huge thanks we have to give to each and every one of the fans from far and wide who've filled this circuit. Over 40,000 of them have made their way through the gates this morning to potentially see history for Pecco Bagnaia, who makes his 100th MotoGP start. And he could achieve something that he's never done in MotoGP, and that's take 8 wins in a single season. For Ducati, who can take their 100th Premier Class victory today. Of course, many contenders who can potentially achieve that for them. But of course, a 5th consecutive Constructors title lies 27 laps away, as long as one of the many Ducati riders can bring their bike home inside the top 4, which you'd imagine is well within them. And Ducati will be celebrating for the 5th consecutive season as Constructors champions this afternoon. The nearest challenger to the Ducati so far this weekend have come from KTM. Brad Binder starts 4th, Pedro Acosta in 5th. Of course, Jack Miller and Augusto Fernandez looking to rally from deep on the grid. Let's get Francesco Guidotti's thoughts with Simon.
Yes. Yesterday, Brad, amazing start like we were talking about in morning warm-up this morning, but it didn't quite work out. Have you figured some things out that could help?
Yeah. I mean, the experience of yesterday always help or could help in the same circumstances. But you know, the starts is always not always. It's never the same. So he will have to deal with what happened in front of him, and let's see.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks to Francesco Guidotti, boss of Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. 4th he was in Misano 1. Brad Binder, the 29-year-old South African, that was his best in 8 MotoGP appearances at this Italian venue. Back of the 3rd row of the grid, 9th place, Fabio Quartararo. It's been some weekend for Quartararo. 5th quickest on Friday, 2nd fastest he was yesterday morning. He scored points in 3 sprints in a row, for the very first time as Yamaha start making strides and big inroads towards getting themselves competitive once again. A very radical shift in strategy as well in terms of the technology rolling out of Iwata, as they confirmed pre-weekend that Yamaha are working on a new V4 engine power unit, which could be on circuit as early as the midway point of 2025. Back in 2024, though, it's all about the race for glory this season. Pecco Bagnaia says he loves this part of the season. He loves the pressure. He loves the focus being on him. And when he's been in this situation in 2022 and in 2023, he has got the job done. He has delivered. Back-to-back MotoGP world titles then for Pecco Bagnaia. Let's just very quickly zip back round to Simon on the grid.
Yeah, special one, because all this argument about the GOAT, I have the real one with me, Giacomo Agostini. Giacomo, what do you think of these modern riders?
It's fantastic. Here in Misano, I think today we have a very good show, because many riders go very fast and many riders won't win. And I think yesterday Bagnaia win the spring race. And today I think it's 3 or 4 people just battle for the first place.
Giacomo, thank you for your time. Enjoy.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, the ultimate MotoGP legend, the 15-time world champion Giacomo Agostini, over 100 Grand Prix successes. Will he be witnessing an Italian triumph here on the Italy's Adriatic coast? Marc Marquez, can he produce another Misano miracle? Can he find his way through from that third row of the grid to get himself in the victory battle? You do feel it's probably a step or two too far today for Marc Marquez. Likely you feel the best he can hope for it's probably third if he can get in a fight, maybe with Bastianini, but what we have seen pretty much from the get-go here, from lap 1 on Friday, you got the sense, you got the impression that this was always about Bagnaia versus Martin. That's how it panned out in yesterday's sprint. Of course, having got the start, got the whole shot yesterday, Jorge Martin, it was only a mistake 7.5 laps into that sprint yesterday, which allowed Pecco Bagnaia to seize the lead. Bagnaia did say, without the mistake, it was not going to be an easy challenge finding a way through on Jorge Martin. First task, first job in hand for Bagnaia this afternoon will be to make sure he nails the start, because he's been blitzed off the line in Misano 1, particularly in the sprint after Jorge Martin's stunning start.
Yeah, and who knows, had Jorge Martin not made that mistake coming through turn 13 yesterday, would Bagnaia have been able to find a way through? He was certainly pushing hard and putting all the pressure on, but Jorge Martin will certainly have eyes on getting the whole shot, getting track position on Pecco Bagnaia and making him do the chasing.
And let's not discount the beast, because he's got a phenomenal record here in front of his home crowd. Born and bred just a stone's throw away in nearby Rimini. He has not finished off the podium in MotoGP. What a shot that is, as well, as Pedro Acosta just gets himself fully revved up, fully fired up and fully in the zone for this 27-lap Grand Prix of Emilia-Romagna. And all Ducati front row, and all Ducati GP24 front row. Enea Bastianini fires away from third place on the grid. Just his second sprint podium here yesterday. Jorge Martin starts from second as he looks to protect his 4-point lead in the World Championship, but going for Ducati's 100th MotoGP win in his 100th MotoGP start. It's the world champion, Pecco Bagnaia.